The management should take the employees into confidence, and they should keep talking to them on a weekly basis. And in companies where they do not have a special spokesman, they must have a guy to talk to the employees on a regular basis and keep telling them what is the position. Taking them into confidence is one of the most important measures, because the element of suspense is removed. Most of the IT employees are educated people, so they do understand what's going on in the world market. So instead of keeping them under suspense and not knowing when the pink slip arrives, if they keep them in the loop, keep telling them what's happening in the company, how the company is doing, what is the order flow, what is the order position, I think it gives them a level of comfort.
It gives them a level of comfort, but there are, in fact, there are points wherein a company cannot avoid, other than laying off people. In that kind of a situation, is there anything that can actually save one from getting into this extreme position, taking this extreme step?
Well, I don't think there is any other choice. See, right from the time the globalization has started and India has seen a good growth levels in the industry, trade and services, it's the first time we are facing a setback. I think most of the industries don't even know how to handle this situation. I mean, we can't blame them. When you are riding very high and the growth rates have been good, you have got used to looking at only positive things. Now when the negative things start hitting you, they do not know how to handle also. For your question whether is there any choice or is there any solution other than laying off, I don't think there is any solution. Pay cut can go only to a certain extent, but later than that, I think layoffs is a must.
All right, we understand there are statistics which shows that at least 1 lakh jobs will be cut by September 2009. A very alarming situation there. There are companies like the TCS, which is set to axe nearly 3,000 employees, more employees in fact, after they have already cut down on numbers. The trend is very negative.
Yes.
So the kind of impact that it will have on the economy as a whole.
Well, it is going to have an impact on the economy. You see, when your growth rates drop from 9% to 4%, 4.5%, or what the government is claiming is about 5%, there is going to be an effect on the whole economy. And if you single out IT, I think IT is in a much better position compared to the manufacturing sector itself. In fact, in manufacturing sector, there is a drop in the top lines. 10%, 15%, 20% is not surprising, a drop in the top lines. At least IT sector, there is still growth. There is still growth. But the only issue in IT sector is the manpower cost in IT sector as a percentage of the revenue is much higher compared to other sectors. So if they have to survive, if they have to get going, I think there is no escape other than cutting costs. How do you cut costs? Either reduce your average pay or less the number of employees. So different companies have different routes to do this. When the availability of manpower is difficult, they lower their standards. When there is a situation where they can demand higher level of manpower quality, they raise their standards. And so they cut off the least efficient people and they lay them off. That is one way of doing it.
The IT city, Bengaluru,
yes,
that it was in fact is heading towards to come into being,
yes,
and also the kind of image that Bengaluru has had, and these layoffs happening.
Yes.
What kind of a stress do you see actually laying on its image?
It is going to be stressful, because when the growths were fast, we got benefit out of it. So when the fall is steep, it is going to affect everybody.
A cycle of problems you see there?
Absolutely, cycle of problems. You see, at an individual level, I think it's going to be difficult for people to handle this. And especially people, youngsters in their late 20s or early 30s, who have been just seeing only progress, prosperity, and all through their lives. I think this will come to them as a shock.
All right, a social shock.
Yeah.
Could actually, that is what layoffs could lead to. But have we been doing enough, Mr. Muralidhar? You've had a very quick, a very clear view of things in Karnataka, especially about the way industry has happened, about the way commerce takes place. Have we been doing enough to avoid those layoffs?
I think the problem did not start here. So I don't think we have any solution for this. If somebody is saying that they have a solution for this, they are fooling themselves. The problem is seen all over the world. And in fact, we are lucky that our problem is not as severe as it is in other parts of the world. If you go to Europe and USA, the level of problems is much severe. The number of jobs that are getting lost is in much higher number. In fact, there is almost a kind of recession in the last 1 year. So I think we are better placed than them. Having said that, in certain sectors, there's going to be a effect like IT, which receives a lot of attention for all the things positive and negative. The layoffs in IT take a lot of importance. But if you see the other sectors, service sectors, manufacturing sectors, even unorganized sectors, thousands and thousands of people are getting laid off. They're leaving Bangalore and walking away. So I think this is bound to happen. I think there is no place to hide. We have to put up with this for the next 1.5 years before the tide turns again in favor of us.
That's right, but companies like Infosys have been saying that there will be no layoffs this year as well. So that's something, that's a ray of hope, and that's something very encouraging.
Very encouraging. In fact, Mohandas Pai has on a couple of occasions also he has said that there won't be any layoffs. I think Infosys is a very strong company. The mindset of Indian companies still is not like the Western companies, where when there is a drop in revenues, they will cut off the manpower. First, axe will fall on the manpower. But still, our system is not that ruthless. So we want to still carry people for some more time and see if we can afford them, and then only the final axe will fall. I think most of the managements in India follow this principle. So if they can sail on this, I think they can avoid layoffs.
Perhaps in India, as you rightly pointed out, Mr. Muralidhar, is that it's the corporate social responsibility mindset inside the companies that are helping, avoiding these layoffs.
Absolutely.
But given the kind of situation globally, there will be a point wherein these companies will also come under pressure, and there is no escape. What is the overall, one final response from you on this, what is the overall trend that you see in the coming days?
Next 2 quarters is going to be tough. It's going to be a deciding. Some economists say it could be even the next 4 quarters. At least we see some ray of hope on the manufacturing and other areas in this quarter. I hope it is not a blip. If this is sustained, I think the worst will be behind us in the next 2 quarters, and we can see some good time to come.
Layoff is certainly a nightmare for every individual.
Absolutely.
You as a person in the business, you as a person who's seen industry.
Yeah.
What would you tell an individual who has recently been laid off?
Well, it's difficult, to get into the shoes of a person who is laid off. But especially a family man, probably it's a very difficult situation. What I can tell a person who is laid off is that at times of prosperity, you must save for the rainy day. We never know what's going to happen. I have been saying this in many forums that savings is one thing which will stand you in good stead at all times. So if you have some savings, you can fall back on that, number one. Number two, this is the right time for you to hone your skills. You can go back to the school if you can afford to, and upgrade your skills. Because layoffs are taking place at various levels of the hierarchy. From the lowest level to the middle management, senior management. The best thing is to use this time very usefully, hone up your skills, go back to the school and learn different things. I think when good times come, you'll be much better placed to get a much better and prospective job.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. D. Muralidhar, there, President of the FKCCi. Thank you very much for speaking to News 9. And first of all, let me very quickly sum it up for all our viewers. What the expert here has said is that we definitely need to actually save something for the rainy days. That if we have done, we are going to pass those testing times. But at the same time, any day, cost cutting and pay cut could anyways be a better option than a layoff. Let's take a quick break here. We'll be back with more news and updates. Welcome back. You're watching Big News here on News 9. Is it thumbs up or thumbs down for President Barack Obama, who completes 100 days in office? What are his achievements as he makes this milestone?
We will not apologize for our way of life, nor will we waver in its defense. And for those who seek to advance their